The acceptance of the coffee drinking custom was not immediate in the Islamic world, and its prohibition was discussed by many religious scholars. The arguments of the religious scholars and the Qadi of Istanbul who issued the first ban on coffee in 1545 are presented along with a translation of the original document. An earlier unexamined case from Egypt is also provided. In 1545, there was a prohibition of coffee drinking in association with public order and safety due to an increase in the size of the groups that used to come together in the coffee houses, which made the police worry about the possible emergence of opposition towards the Ottoman rule. However, after solving the problems, coffee drinking soon gained back its popularity. The origin of coffee can be traced back to the Ethiopian highlands. It is said that Khaldi, a herdsman in Abyssinia, was the first to discover the stimulating effects of the coffee bean when he saw his goats eating a cherry-like fruit and becoming more energetic. Khaldi went to a monastery and told the abbot about the miraculous food. Despite Khaldi's excitement about the cherries, the abbot of the local monastery threw them into a fire, showing a lack of interest in the potential of the coffee beans. However, over time, more people recognized the power of coffee to spread globally. The fact that coffee is native to Ethiopia, formerly known as Abyssinia, showcases the country's diverse climate and soil that are ideal for growing high-quality coffee beans. Ethiopian coffee, including wild varieties, has a long history of being used in religious ceremonies and consumed with traditional African drinks. Although priests initially showed little interest in coffee, its popularity eventually grew, leading to innovations in coffee preservation and the introduction of various coffee flavors. The development of the coffee industry allowed for widespread coffee consumption around the world. During the Ottoman era, there was a ban on the consumption of coffee. This prohibition was put in place by Sultan Murad IV in the early 17th century. The Sultan believed that coffee houses were places where people gathered to engage in politic discussions and engage in activities that were deemed inappropriate by the ruling authorities. As a result, the consumption of coffee was seen as a threat to the stability and control of the Ottoman Empire. The ban on coffee was strictly enforced, with severe penalties imposed on those who were caught violating the prohibition. People caught drinking coffee could face punishment ranging from fines to exile or even death. The ban on coffee remained in place for several decades, leading to the decline of coffee houses and the widespread consumption. Despite the prohibition, coffee continued to be smuggled and consumed in secret by those who defied the ban. The ban on coffee was eventually lifted in the late 17th century during the reign of Sultan Mehmed IV. This decision was influenced by the changing social and political climate in the empire, as well as the growing popularity of coffee in other parts of the world. Many arguments were made in favor of lifting the ban, citing the social and economic benefits of allowing coffee consumption to resume. One of the main reasons for lifting the ban on coffee was its widespread popularity among the population. Coffee had become an integral part of daily life for many people, from the ruling class to the commoners. Its consumption had created a thriving coffee culture that was too entrenched to be suppressed indefinitely. Moreover, the economic benefits of allowing coffee to be traded and consumed freely could not be ignored. Coffee had become a valuable commodity, with vast sums of money being generated through its cultivation, trade, and consumption. By lifting the ban, the Ottoman Empire stood to gain economically from the flourishing coffee industry. The decision to unban coffee also had significant cultural implications. It paved the way for the development of coffee houses, which became important social spaces where people could gather, socialize, and engage in intellectual discourse. These coffee houses played a crucial role in shaping the cultural landscape of the Ottoman Empire and fostering a sense of community among its inhabitants. Once coffee was officially recognized as permissible according to the law, it began to be promoted both as a form of amusement and as a remedy for various ailments. In 1670, an Islamic law book written in Istanbul detailed the regulations governing the municipality's interactions with coffee, including the collection of a coffee tax that was used to fund the hiring of numerous employees and expenses related to religious services. The successors of Sultan Murad IV, although some scholars advised against the consumption of coffee, did not impose a ban on the beverage during his reign, 1623 to 1640. The palace library contained foreign miniatures from this period, depicting a keen interest in coffee, as well as the production and presentation of canics in tekel shops for the Sultan's guests. Despite the prohibition of coffee houses that year, it is evident that the reason for the ban was not based on a religious decree. The lenient attitude towards coffee continued under the rule of Sultan Mehmed IV, 1648 to 1687, and during the regency of his mother Kosum and sister Atike Sultana. It was acknowledged that Muslims could benefit from coffee by staying awake for religious duties without becoming inebriated. Additionally, bazaars and coffeehouses served as hubs for discussion during this period, leading to the creation of specific terminology for individuals associated with these establishments. The significance of coffee cannot be overstated in our society. Coffee has become an integral part of our daily routine for many people, with its rich history and cultural significance shaping how we perceive and consume this beloved beverage. And it's very important to acknowledge that we owe the discovery of coffee to goats, and for that we should be grateful.